Hello, everybody. Welcome to the third day of the 21 Days Inspiration Challenge. Today we have Dr. Q with us, and right now I am posting this even on Facebook. So just, we need some seconds, so I will write, the perfect things here. So, third day inspiration challenge. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go and it's gonna be on my Facebook profile, basically on the page, okay? And we're going live. And when we are live, guys, I'm just gonna shut my camera and we can begin. I leave you the command. Leave you to Nicoleta and Dr. Q the command, and see you at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna check if it works. I'm gonna watch here because every time I just
It says here meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. On my it says it.
Yes, amazing. Just to have the total confirmation. Just yes, we are streaming live. So
Very
leave
good.
you the command and see you at the end. Ciao.
Bye-bye. So hello, everyone. We are back today with an amazing guest. I can share his amazingness. So Dr. Q from the Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. Thank you so much for being here and sharing with us your story, your incredible story, and also about the Palm Leaf Institute. We are so interested about this subject and received also many questions. So some I have with me and we'll see. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Nico, and thank you very much, Oana, for having me here tonight. My name is Dr. Q. I'm the founder of the Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. It is indeed an honor and a pleasure to be a guest on your 21-day-long inspiration challenge. And our guest today is day number 3. And it is a perfect timing as now in India, we celebrate Diwali, the festival of lights. It's a 3-day thing, started today, tomorrow, the next day. And so to be here on the first day of this, the Christmas of India, I should say, as they call it, the Christmas of India, to be a guest on your 21-day inspiration challenge. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, Nico and I, we know each other for quite some time now because Nico already had a reading, actually 2 readings with us.
2 readings.
And I presume, I must say, that Nico had a great experience. Otherwise, I don't think she would have invited me to talk about it to your tribe tonight. Well, in brief, and I try to keep it as brief as possible because there is a lot of information to be shared. First and foremost, to folks out there, in case you haven't noticed yet, I'm not an Indian, believe it or not. And yet I do something very Indian. Actually, it's very much Southern Indian. India is a big, big country, and it has federal states, just like the US, Canada, Germany. And the southernmost state is called Tamil Nadu. And there are about 85 million people. And in that one state alone, the majority of people, they're Tamils, and so they speak the Tamil language. And especially for that particular state, Indian palm leaf reading is a big thing. We call it Indian palm leaf reading. Indians don't call it Indian palm leaf reading because they know it's Indian, and so they don't need to call it that way. They call it Nadi Astrology, Nadi reading, Jyotish. We, because I had the honor and the pleasure and the luck also to bring it to the West as the very first and establish an institute that's entirely focusing on this in the United States. But of course, we got seekers from across the globe. So why do we call it Indian palm leaf reading? Because a Western person, most Western people have never heard of it. Indian, so people know it comes from India. Palm leaf, so they know it's written on dried palm leaves, nothing to do with the palm of your hands. It's dried palm leaves. And reading, so they know, okay, there has got to be some sort of reading, a message written on these dried palm leaves. And Indian calls it Nadi Astrology or Nadi reading. Why? Because Nadi can be translated into in many different ways. Nadi could be the leaf itself. That's a nadi. The message given to the seeker, nadi. So if you're a seeker, you're also nadi, seeking to receive the message that was written for you 3,000 years ago. Or also nadi is the pulse, pulse of a human. So it comes full circle. So they have a better understanding why they call it Nadi Astrology. But there's so many names that in palm reading is called. I just want to keep it short and simple. Now, I myself had an amazing experience, obviously, otherwise I would have never heard of it. Long story short, I've been on a spiritual journey for over 30 years. Now I'm giving away my age, and it's my Botox, where I'm trying to keep young and fresh as best as I possibly can. It worked for some time, but I guess now not so much anymore. The reason being, I had cancer when I was a teenager, from 16 to 19, and I'm lucky that I survived. I could have just as well also died. And during those 3 years, of course, surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation, the whole 9 yards, for quite some time. And I saw people die. I was at a very young age, and I saw people die in my room that I shared the room with. And of course, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I said, God, why me? Of course, I was very angry because, I was 16 years old. I'm a kid. Why do I get punished? Because I had just overcome another punishment. And the punishment was having to flee Iran, because my dad's Persian and my mom's Austrian. She's European. And so I grew up in Iran, and I went to flee the country in 1979 because there was a big revolution. Some of you might be mature enough to remember a revolution. The country went nuts. It became a dictatorship, a religious dictatorship. And since my family are not Muslim at all, they're Baha'is, who would have been killed. It's that simple. My dad would have been executed. So we had to flee. So one day, kings, because my dad was very wealthy. The next day, revolution happens, paupers, no money at all. And my mom became the breadwinner. So it took me quite a few years to recover from that, because I was a child and I lost my home. I was derouted. And then boom, some of you might remember too, the more mature ones amongst us, the biggest nuclear catastrophe that has to this date, called Chernobyl. In those days, it was in the USSR. Now it's in a new country called the Ukraine. And so Chernobyl was in April of 1986. It burst, and then the nuclear cloud traveled. And that is how I got cancer. So I was diagnosed with cancer. Many, many, many other people too, because at the time we lived in Vienna, Austria. And so I was in hospital for, in and out of hospital for 3 years. I physically stayed in hospital for 6 months. 6 months in 3 years is a lot of time. And at 19, the physician said, well, you're recovered. It's all good. You survived. You're in remission. And that is when I thought to myself, man, why did I survive? Why? First it was, why me, God? And then now, why me again? Why did I, why am I lucky enough to survive and the others did not? And that is what got me on a spiritual journey for over 30 years. And I've tried many things, like many, many, many things, Reiki healing, distant healing, energy healing, psychotherapies, group therapies, silent meditation for weeks on end, no talking, just meditating all day long. I've been with shamans in the Amazon. I've visited John of God several times, you name it. I've done a lot of things just to explore and see what's out there, because I was fascinated by the fact that I survived and many others did not. And I was like, why is that? Why is that? So I've been on this journey trying to understand what's out there, because I know there's way more out there than meets the eye. And then in 2012, I think it was, don't shoot me, I'll get mixed up these years now. So let's say a little less than 10 years ago, I had a virus infection, and the virus infection impacted my heart. And again, I almost died. I ended up in the intensive care unit. My entire heart muscle was inflamed. I had water in my lungs and water in my heart muscle, the whole 9 yards. So the doctor, when I went to the hospital, said, "Oh my God, you're lucky. You're deadly sick," he said, "and you're lucky that you're alive." I said, "What? What?" Because I felt quite okay. Lucky me, because my girlfriend at the time, she pushed me to go to the hospital in Vienna, the same cancer hospital that treated me 30 years before. And so the next day, while I'm in the hospital, I collapsed. And that's what saved my life, because I was already there. And then they shoved me into the ICU. And a month later, I, survived, and I came out. And during the month, my girlfriend came and visited me and said, you should do palm reading. imagine I'm in the ICU because I connected the dots in the ICU, because all you can do is just sweat and have high fever. Extremely high fever is delirious. For those of you who know Celsius, like 42, extremely high, you're just in a semi-comatose state. And so I thought, man, why me? Why me? Why, this is terrible, so I connected the dots when I was in the ICU. I thought, you know what? I think this lifetime, I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm a helper, really I am. I'm not seeking money. I don't want to be wealthy. These things don't really interest me at all. And then I thought, you know what? It has to do with karma. It must have to do with karma. And then so my girlfriend said, there is something you can do to clean your karma. And it's called palm leaf reading. I was like, really? You can clean your karma doing a palm leaf reading? I said, I'll do it right away. I said, if I survive, I said, I'll go and see if there is a palm leaf written for me. And that is the beginning of the journey. That's how I got exposed to it. I had an amazing reading, which blew my mind, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't. Had somebody told me about this, I would have said that doesn't exist. It's crazy. And yet I experienced it myself, so I know it's a reality. Now, in how does palm leaf reading work? There is a legend. Legend has it that about 3,000 years ago, nothing is written about it. About 3,000 years ago, saints called Maharishi, great sages, Maha, great Rishi, sage, great saints, in many parts of India, but I'm going to focus on the southern parts of India because they have their own branch, as opposed to the northern parts of India. They have a different branch. In the southern parts of India, what is now known as the state of Tamil Nadu, way before India became India, they meditated to Lord Shiva or Vishnu or Parvati, but primarily to God Shiva, to get the power of foresight. So they downloaded the information and then dictated the information to dozens of their disciples at the same time. And then they preserved the information on palm leaves, because 3,000 years ago, there was no paper, no books, no computer, none of that. So the only way to preserve knowledge in those days was smart, actually. They cut leaves of palm trees into small pieces, about 10 inches long, like 20, 25 centimeters long, about an inch or so wide. So that's about 2-3 centimeters wide. And they etched it, didn't write it because there was no pencils either. They etched it into the fresh flesh of the palm leaf. And then when the palm leaf dried up, the message came through, and that is how they preserved the message. So literally palm leaves. And we have 18 main sages from southern India. And the main guy of those 18 is called Agastya. And I brought you a little picture of the 18 sages. I hope you can all see it here. I'll hold it as close as I possibly can to the camera. And the guy in the middle, that is Agastya. You can buy these, by the way, in temples near the office which we have in the southernmost parts of India, in the state of Tamil Nadu. So this guy and 17 of his colleagues, there were more. There were 80 or God knows exactly how many, but 18 are the main ones. And out of these 18 main ones, Agastya is the chief guy. They had messages. They downloaded the messages, possibly downloading Akashic records for each individual. So Nicoleta's little information thing in the Akashic records, downloaded and then written on a palm leaf for you to receive at the right time. And so these leaves were then put into bundles. And again, to show you, so I have a better understanding of how these things look. This is a bundle, also known as a book. So this could be the Book of Agastya or Bundle of Agastya or one of these other 17 sages. And what they did is, in order to preserve these leaves, because palm leaves are very brittle, you touch them, they might crack, and so how can you preserve them? Okay, you got to think 3,000 years ago, of course. Then what they did is they put these palm leaves into bundles, and the top and the bottom they used wood. Okay, and then when you tie them up together, it's pretty secure, and this system can survive thousands of years, and it's used exactly today too. Pretty smart, then pretty still cool today. Then again, thinking in historic terms, how can then a person find out if there is a message written for them? Again, 3,000 years ago, a bulletproof means as your thumbprint. So you will put down your thumbprint, and now I'll talk about the system and how to be able to find your leaf today, because nothing has changed. It's the exact same system today too. It's a 3-step system: search, matching, reading. If you're in India, you will go to a reader's office, and then there's a piece of paper. You will put down your thumbprint, gentlemen, right thumbprint, ladies, left thumbprint, and you would, of course, say, male or female, and then your country of birth, and then the reader. And the reader is the person who can identify the name of your thumbprint, which I will explain in a second, go on a search for a bundle, which hopefully contains your individual palm leaf, and then match the palm leaf to you in the matching process, and then read it to you. That person is called a reader. And it takes that person quite many years to become a reader, 5 to 7 years, give or take, depending on under which guru he studies. Usually, a reader is born into a reader family because these bundles are stored in archives. And when you think of an archive or library, you think, oh, temperature controlled, security guards, it's a library and archive. It's the opposite. For those of you who have not been to India yet, the reality is they're basically little holes in the wall somewhere in a back room. That is an archive. That's how it looks. And so these families throughout the centuries inherited, gathered a few hundred maybe, or a few dozen, or if they're like a couple thousand of these bundles, and it's like a family treasure. And then the knowledge of how to identify, read, and so forth is passed on from great-grandfather to grandfather to father to son to grandson and so forth. So generational, the knowledge is passed on from generation to generation. And there is no school you can go to either. It's like, oh, this is a palm leaf reading school, you go and study it. No, you got to find yourself a guru, a teacher, who either because you are the grandson of that guru, then of course it's easy because you're born into the family. But as an outsider, you can also decide to become a reader, and then you would need to find a guru, say, hey, I would like to become a reader. Usually when you're younger, you will become his disciple. You will first sweep the floor, run errands, go shopping, and then eventually the reader will say, okay, I'm going to teach you a few things. And so it takes, quite many years to understand and read and identify and so forth. So that person is a reader. Now, you go to a reader's office, submit your thumbprint, your gender, your country of birth, and then the reader literally takes a magnifying glass, looks at your thumbprint, and then identifies your thumbprint name. The secret in all of this lies in your thumbprint. Nicoleta knows because she already done a couple of readings. Me too, by the way, as a seeker myself. So your thumbprint name identifies you in more ways than you might think. It's like your genetic imprint. It's your baseline. It tells a lot about you because thumbprint names have different meanings, of course, and it makes a big difference if you have in your thumbprint name crown or water lily, or there's so many different portions to it, and each one of them means something. Of course, they're all associated with either planet or god or and so forth. And knowing this, then the reader goes on a physical search from one archive to the next, to the next, to the next. And there are, God knows how many, I really don't know because nobody knows. Let's say 1,000, a lot, more than we can possibly imagine. And first of all, of course, the reader would look into his own archive because they might have a few hundred or so. And if he finds a bundle that carries palm leaves with that particular thumbprint name, bam, then the search is very short because it's already there. But if he doesn't have a bundle that matches your thumbprint name, he then goes to the neighbor and then the one further and so forth. So then if it's not in his own town or village, he goes to the next town or village, which means he hops on his bicycle or moped or public bus, and goes from one to the next. And if there is none in the vicinity, we would then hire agents. We'll call an agent and say, look, agent, can you look in your town, which is 2, 3, 4, 5 hours away from here, or maybe in a different state altogether. We need a bundle with this thumbprint name. And then the agent would say, yeah, I have one, and then would ship it over. So hence, the search could be just a day or just an hour, if it's in the back room, or it could be several weeks, several months. Once a reader finds a bundle, then the search, which is a physical act, comes to an end because a bundle has been found, which hopefully contains your individual palm leaf, because it could be that first-time matching doesn't work and he has to go for another search and look for more bundles. that contain, hopefully contain your palm leaf. Then if he finds a bundle, search comes to an end, he would call you if you were there and say, Nico, come here, come over, we found a bundle. And then he would have the matching and the reading live, sitting across from a table from your reader. He would go to his office. I mean, office is also exaggerated, it's also a hole in the wall. And I did a live reading. Nico, your reading is way more comfortable because you can sip your coffee, you can eat spaghetti, you know, it's like, it's comfortable. It's either you can cool your home during the summer, you can heat it when it's too cold. So you are in the comfort of your home. So people think, oh, that's not the real deal. You know, I'd rather do it in person. I'm telling you, the reality is way less romantic than you might think, because I've been to India quite a few times. It's hot as hell. Like it's hot. That's you gotta get used to it, because I'm not a hot person. Like I don't enjoy heat too much. It's humid. It's a small room, you know, and it's full of incense. They use a lot of incense. And because of my chemotherapy and my cancer, I'm very, very sensitive to scent. You know, it blows my mind. So I had to just fend for 3 hours for survival when I was in the room, because I could hardly breathe and I couldn't focus what I was saying, because, you know, it's cramped and so forth. So that's the reality of it. Mosquitoes everywhere, and all the constant noise and stuff. So the online thing is way more comfortable, I'm telling you. Plus you get a Western person who helps you as a moderator. But let's say you're in India, so you sit across from it, and then he would open up the bundle in front of you, and then he would look like I do now. So I tied it open, and then he would flip over the first part, and then he would look at the very first leaf, the very first one. And whatever information catches his eye as being the most important information on that leaf, he will read out to you as a statement. He will say, you're married, because the person whose leaf this is a married person. And you will say yes or no, that's it. You can only give yes, no answers, correct, incorrect, right, wrong answers. That's it. These leaves on top of it are quite not easy at all to read, because in Tamil Nadu, we speak Tamil, modern Tamil today. These leaves were written several thousand years ago, so they were written in ancient Tamil. It doesn't exist anymore. Like Greek, modern Greek and ancient Greek. A modern Greek person cannot understand, read, or write ancient Greek. They would have to go to university and study it. Same thing with the reader. He has to learn ancient Tamil. These leaves are written in a poetic form, like a poem, not in simple sentences, not like a book. They are written in a symbolic way, the only way to compress so much information on a small piece of dried palm leaf is to use symbols. And each symbol can be translated in different ways. So the reader needs to know which direction to take the leaf. And then last but not least, Tamil and ancient Tamil are syllabic languages, sound-based languages, unlike all Western languages, German, English, Romanian, doesn't matter, A, B, C, D. It's quite a task. Now I understand why it takes so long for a reader to be able to become a reader and then be able to find your leaf, match it, and then read it to you. So only yes, no answers. And that's called matching. At the end of a successful matching process, where the reader, one more time, does not know anything about you. He just knows, you know, Nico, he knows that you're a lady, a female, he knows your thumbprint name, and he knows that you were born in Romania. But where you live now, or what you do, who you are, he has no
nothing.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. And then in a boom, when he's on the right leaf, the information just, unfolds like
crazy.
Incredible, yeah, like Matrix, like if you've seen the movie Matrix and they look at all these digitals, and then to you, it looks like symbols of the Matrix, but they can see figures and, humans and cars and this and that. So it's the same thing with them. So boom, he then reads out to you your first name, mother's first name, father's first name. If you have a husband or ex-husband, that person's name, kids, how many, gender, siblings, if you have any, how many, gender. It blows your mind. You're like, oh my gosh, how can this be? Your date of birth, your time of birth.
Yes.
It's you. It's like, wow, how can this be? Wow. I mean, me too. I was blown away. I was like, man, my father's name is Siavash. I mean, it's a Persian name, and I guarantee you he's never heard the name before. No way, Jose, he's ever heard Siavash before. My mother's name is Gisela. I'm sure he's never heard of the name Gisela either. But when an Indian guy, a Tamil guy, he's like, I don't speak Tamil. That's how it sounded to me, when he was talking to me. Siavash. It's like, what? Oh my God. Yes, Siavash, that's my father's name. So because you just had your reading yesterday. So it's the same
yes.
with you when he just blurted out your
My ex.
name and your ex. I know you was like, oh my God, how can this be? This cannot be true. I remember. So it's like,
The
we
name.
don't want to use any names here, but
Yes.
so because you're here, but we can use your name at least, Nicoleta. They said
Yes.
they said your name.
My father, my mother, also
yeah.
very difficult names like
Very difficult.
Viorica,
Yes, Viorica.
Ciprian. Okay. And
Very difficult. And I think they mentioned your ex-husband and also other names in your readings. It's quite something. And so that's matching. You know it's you. It's that simple. And if you have any doubt, then it's not you. And the whole purpose of doing the search and then the matching is to get a reading done. And with a successful matching means we found your actual leaf, and then the reader will give you a reading, and the reading is based on three aspects: your overall energies, not your mood, your energies, different, your thumbprint name, and Vedic astrology. In short, Vedic astrology is Indian astrology, Hindu astrology, as opposed to Western astrology, which most of us are familiar with, or Chinese astrology. So these are the big astrological systems. And palm leaf reading is a subsection of Indian astrology. So it's part of the big Hindu Vedic astrological system. And so that means that the reader also needs to know all of Vedic astrology on top of it. So it's quite something to become a reader. And based on these three things, he will give you a possible life trajectory. Possible. Your life is not set in stone. It's a possibility until you die. It's a whole life reading. And it comes in blocks of years, like 2-3 year blocks. And it covers all aspects of life: health, finances, partnership, kids, grandchildren, spirituality. And it gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, if it's good, basically seize the opportunity to utilize the window of opportunity that was given to you. Like, it's a good time to write a book because you're connected. Things come to you, or to move, or whatever it is. And if it's not so good, then don't get upset or stressed or whatever. It just tells you from today's point of view, there are obstacles at some point in the future in certain areas of your life. And the whole purpose of getting a reading done is to then, after the reading, create a better life trajectory for yourself. Because every obstacle that's identified in the reading, at the very end of the reading, the reader will tell you what you can do now in so-called remedies, pujas, energy shifting exercises to help unblock certain parts of your life so that you can attract different energies and hence create a better reality for yourself. In short, why should anyone get a reading done? So that you can create a better life trajectory for yourself after your reading. It's that simple. And if you carry karma, like I did, obviously, because otherwise I wouldn't be sick so often, you get a karmic reading. And it will tell you when you lived, who you were, name, the time you lived, which country, like a whole, like it's quite intricate. And it tells you then at the end, of course, what you did to now be in this vicious cycle of whatever it is, in my case, health. And then, of course, it will give you pujas too, so that you can do something to overcome the negative aspects of your karma and get healed from it. So that is palm leaf reading in a nutshell, because the pujas itself is quite an intricate part and very complex. In short, a puja means prayer ceremony or ceremonial act. I translated for our seekers as an energy shifting exercise. Really, that's what it is. And they come in different forms, like in mantras dedicated to gods and goddesses that each identify with a block in your life, or it could be a physical act that you need to do. For example, people who have either issues with their children or want to have children, there's a physical act: feed mother cow and baby cow spinach at the same time on 2 Thursdays. It's a physical act. So, and they're like, oh my God, I live in Frankfurt, I live in London, how can I find a cow? Well, that's your job to somehow figure it out and go, because that's a puja. Basically, you show the universe that you're serious about healing. So you will overcome the challenge to find your way of doing exactly at the time that you were told to do it. You cannot just do it anytime you want. If it's 2 Thursdays in a row, you got to find, and at the right Thursday, not just any Thursday. Or in my case, it was give minimum 5 poor children fruits, food, and sweets. Minimum 5 on 3 Fridays. And I moved to Hungary. I'm a foreigner here. I don't speak Hungarian. I don't know anyone. I was like, oh my God, how am I supposed to do this? I don't know anyone. You figure it out. You do. So that's a physical act you need to do at the right time. And I figured it out too. What you do, of course, what did I do? I found at orphanages and kindergartens. I said, look, I'm not a strange, weird white guy that, is like giving candies to children. It might sound crazy to you, but I'm on a puja, I'm healing trip here. My reader told me I need to do this. Is it okay that I buy, a whole sack of sweets and fruits and I give it to you? And please make sure that they get it on a Friday. Sure, you can do it. Anyway, you figure it out. So it's a physical act, it's a mantra, or it could also be a ceremony done on your behalf by a priest in a temple in India. So it's quite complex and it's quite lengthy too. It takes months upon months to get it done. And that's a few words about a puja too. I want to keep it short because I don't want to bore you or overwhelm you with information, because I can talk about this for many hours. But if you have any questions that you want to ask, or because you just said you're reading, I'm more than happy to dive deeper and answer your personal questions if you have, or questions that somebody out there might have.
So I have 2 questions with me taken,
sure.
and
Sure.
then one, if someone is chatting a question, then we can discuss that also. So for me was in the beginning so interesting. When should you have a palm leaf reading? Is it more when you find out, when you have a struggle in your life, or how do you know when to have it?
Well, you can, you need to be at least 16 years old.
But
and age-wise, I just did a reading 2 days ago with an 80-year-old lady.
I meant not so much about the age, but do you have to be at the crossroad?
Yeah.
Or?
So when would you know to get a reading done? Is very simple.
Yeah.
It was written for you to be found at the time that you need it. So many people, I've given so many talks, live talks, radio shows, YouTube, podcasts. I don't know how many thousands, tens of thousands of people have heard what I said. You hear it, but it might not register, right? Because I also read a book by Deepak Chopra called The Book of Secrets, which he wrote about 20 years ago. And in that book, he talks about his own palm leaf reading. I presume you or the audience out there has heard of Deepak Chopra. Is the most famous Indian guy, I would say, in the US as a physician, and it talks about the power of mind and stuff. And he also had a palm leaf reading done, and he wrote about this in his book, The Book of Secrets. I read it too, and it was an interesting story, but it didn't register. Do you know what I mean? You hear it, but not necessarily you hear it. But when you hear it and it sinks in, and it's like, oh wow, I need to do this, then you do it. So it could be either at a crossroads, or you need to make a decision of one sort or another, or you don't really know what to do. What would be good for my soul? Because a reading will tell you if your job or profession is in alignment with what your soul's supposed to be doing. It can be identified through the symbolisms, which of the elements of the 5 elements are your elements. Out of that, you can also extract a profession or a field. Like if it's land, then obviously earth, land, and something that's land related, farming, food, living in the mountains. So it might help you what to do. Or air, if your element is air, then speaking, teaching. So it makes, then you can figure something out what to do profession-wise. Now, many people come, curiosity is also enough. Oh my gosh, I'm curious. Is there one for me because I'm a white guy? And how could it be that for a white guy there is something written on a palm leaf and it's somewhere in India? Yes, it's possible, because I'm a white guy and I have nothing to do with India either, apart from traveling. So it is possible.
So that's very interesting, maybe from my story, because I heard also from a friend from work, and she was in India actually. Now I remember, I heard about the palm leaf, and I was really interested to have one palm leaf reading sometime. And she said it was really amazing years ago, but I forgot that somehow. I said, okay, when I go to India one time, I will have that.
Yes.
And then last year, and also here, maybe to bring my gratitude also to Evelyn,
Yes.
who posted on
Evelyn,
Facebook this amazing experience. And then I immediately said, I want to do it now. How you said, yes, probably because my soul needed that 1 year ago in the first reading. And yes, from sharing my experience, exactly how we talked a bit about the names. My first palm reading, I didn't have any questions because I was so mind blown about the accuracy, about things, about family, about names, about age, about both my, let's say, my duality in life. I have a normal job, which I love. I have my yoga, which I also love. Moving countries, this, everything. So no one could know about me. So that's not written on Facebook.
No,
or
it's not,
because
it's not.
people say, probably they Google or something like that, like this skeptical mind that, yeah, it's not there. So, yes, and also this.
Yeah, I know. I know. Skeptics are out there. I know that, and they sometimes say, "Oh, there is no way you can know." excuse me, any of this, because they Google me. I was like, "Are you serious?
Exactly.
Are you? Do you really think somebody in the back is like Googling you? If that's what people believe, which is okay. I mean, I understand, because they do not know me from Boo, and of course, anyone could tell you anything they want. But if somebody says, "Oh, you Googled or you hacked my social security number in the United States," which I do not know how to do, but because we're not a high-tech company, we're not like spies. We're just simple. It's a very simple institute that we run. That's palm reading, and I assure you, the reader has no interest, no time, and not enough money involved. To be honest with you, to spend a minute outside of. He shows up in the office. The reader would do a meditation in the morning. To be ready for the reading, and then he sits down and then the reading starts. That's it. And then he opens up the bundle and the rest unfolds or not. It could be that there is no match too, and then the efforts were not successful, and then he has to go back and do more work and find more. So if somebody has any doubt, I always say, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because there is no way for me to prove otherwise. Just don't do it. Go ahead.
Okay.
So there was, do you have another question?
Oana, maybe you can tell us shortly what our public said. Yes, Oana.
Hello. We had a person, a friend of mine. He's actually from India. He just asked if this is Nadi Astrology, if you are a Nadi astrologer, because he's been through that. And I just answered that what was his experience. But Nadi astrologers are basically the readers, right?
Correct.
The experts who read this.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. I got so curious now. Nicoleta talked to me about this 1 year ago almost, and I was like, yeah, but something in me, it was like, should I do it or not? And now I'm like, I just went on your website and I just want to do it. I'm gonna do it. And
and by the way, as a gift from because I love Nicoleta and I just
I love you too.
To support what you guys are doing, I'm very grateful of what you do. You need to know, I started this not to become a millionaire because there is not enough money involved. I do it because I want to help people. And so it's a calling for me, really. When I had my first reading, told me, 8 years ago, you will bring this to the West. I thought he's kidding me. I thought it's a joke. I mean, why I have nothing to do with India. I'm not Indian. I just forgot about it. And yet I'm here talking to you about it 8 years later. So the whole thing became a calling. So not only to help seekers, basically our mission is to give a reading to people from the comfort of their home, so they don't need to go to India. Because I'm a traveler, I've been to many, many countries. I had a big travel business before. So to me, traveling to anywhere is awesome. I really don't, I'm a traveler. But when I had my reading done and I came home and I talked about this experience to people, they said, oh, wow, because I'm an enthusiastic human being. I said, well, this is an amazing experience. You should get a reading too. And many people said, oh yeah, I want to get a reading too. And I said, okay, let's organize them and go to India. And that's when I realized most Western people, they will never go to India. They won't, period. That's just the way it is. Because for whatever reason, the flight's too long, or the food's too spicy, it's too hot there. I don't know, whatever the reasons might be. To some people, it's a magnet. Some people will love to go to India. They want to live there, go to ashrams. But in reality, which I wasn't aware of really, even though I've been in tourism for most of my life, Western people, majority will never go. They won't go to India, period. That's just the way it is. So that is how I realized, oh, wow, how can I help these people to get a reading done? And that is how the whole online idea came about. And in the beginning, it was just a hobby too, because I wanted to help some people to get a reading, and that's the end of it. But it became more and more and more. And then I was like, oh my God, this is more than a hobby. I got to put this into a legal framework and make sure that people are taken care of. And so that's how we ended up creating this institute, which is legally based in the United States, and we pay the taxes in the U.S. and everything's so it's a kosher institute. But the aim is to help people in the West that don't want to go to India, and also my Indian friends, because I'm an Indian lover. I've been doing yoga for, I don't know, over 20 years. I meditate for God knows how long. So we want to provide a decent living to these saints that are readers, and provide an incredible service in a very poor country. So we not only provide jobs to readers and interpreters, both in India, in the office in India, also Western moderators to help people to understand. So we give a full circle service to people that get a reading done with us online, because a reader, interpreter to English, some people have a hard time understanding the Indian English. So we now, in every call, we have a Western person who helps the seeker, wherever they're sitting, to understand the interpretation of the Tamil palm leaf reading, but also to help understand the deeper message. So you might understand phonetically, but you might not understand spiritually in your heart what the message actually means. So we have a moderator on top of it. So there's 3 people in every call. And the whole thing lasts, the matching and the reading, 3 to 4 hours, depending on how many questions you have. And on top of it, we support like an organization called All Children in the town that my office is in. So I give back a lot, really. So every time whoever gets a reading with us is directly and indirectly supporting not only the readers and interpreters, but also orphans and poor children in the town that we're in. And so it's a calling, really. And in order to say thank you to Nicoleta and to Oana for giving us an opportunity to talk to you two and introduce this whole notion of Nadi Astrology, Nadi reading to you, I'm more than happy to give you $100 discount so that it might entice you to also get a reading done. Because I understand the cost is $100, sorry because we're based in the US, I gotta stick with one currency. It's $100. You can pay by credit card, of course, or PayPal, whatever. It's $100 for the search. And if we are successful in finding a bundle for you, remember these are bundles. If we can find your bundle in 6 months, usually it's a month or 6 weeks or so, but we search for 6 months. If we can find one, then the search is done and you pay the $100 to see if there is a bundle for you. And then you can pay usually another $400 to get the matching and the reading. But in your case, it's just $300 because we'll give you $100 off. And all you got to say is the 21-day inspiration challenge when you sign up, or just use the name Nicoleta or Oana, and then we know that you listen to this particular broadcast, and you get $100 off. It's our gift to the 2 ladies for their support, and of course, directly, indirectly, of course, supporting the audience out there if that's what you want to do. And the website is Indian Palm Leaf Reading, indianpalmleafreading.com. And I'm sure Oana is going to post it on her Facebook page. And it's pretty simple. Otherwise, you can contact Nicoleta or Oana directly, or me. It's easy, you know, info@indianpalmleafreading.com, info@palmleafreading.com. And sorry, info@indianpalmleafreading.com. And just say that you heard about this in this broadcast, and we get started.
Yes, may I ask you the last question before me about, because this I have also with me, about the free will. You already mentioned a bit. So you get, let's say, the soul mission.
Yes.
Yeah. In the palm leaf already written.
Yes.
And you know already where it goes. Where is the free will of your person, let's say?
Always there. It never goes away. It never goes away. You see, and I'm a huge believer, 1000%, that we have free will and choice. No matter what people say, I only stick with what I believe in, and that's free will and choice. So what a reading does, it gives you a possible trajectory of your life, possible, potential, based on the time you get the reading done. On that day, the reader says, based on your energies today, now, based on your thumbprint today, now, based on astrology today, now, there is a possible trajectory that looks like this. And then you can do with that whatever you want to do. You can say, that's nonsense, forget about it. You can say, wow, thank you so much, embrace it. You could say, no, I'm done with life, and you jump out of the window. I just lost my spotlight here. And so you got free will, you know, you can do whatever you want to do. So it's, your life is not set in stone. It's not predestined. It is full of potentials and possibilities, and they only manifest themselves every day through your own actions. So I'm 100% believer that we create our own destiny and reality through our thoughts, our actions. Non-actions are too. You know, if you don't do something, you still create something, right? If you sit on your behind at your desk and don't work, at some point something will happen. If you run out of money, I don't know, you know what I mean? So even if you don't do something, you still create a reality for yourself. And I'm believing that. So you have the free will to accept the message and do something with it or not.
Yes, very nice. And maybe also from my personal experience about the pujas, that they really, I saw the puja from the first reading to the second reading, they really changed the energy shift.
Yes,
some
for sure.
of them, of course, but I experienced that really. And yes, the last question that I also saw, do you have to be strictly, because the pujas are in Sanskrit and they are strict, let's say, in this Sanskrit language? If you don't understand everything, how important is that?
What we do is we transliterate the well, the pujas are done in our case in Tamil, because we're in Tamil Nadu and they speak Tamil in the state that we're in, with the local dialect, because it has many different dialects too. So the pujas are in this, and then what we do is we transliterate them into English, so you at least can read them, like, because it's written in English letters, not in our case Tamil. But yes, pujas are also written in Sanskrit, I know that too. But I'm just telling, so you can read it at least. And then quite many people make the mistake to focus on, oh my God, I cannot correctly pronounce it. So I keep telling everyone, it doesn't matter. You're wasting your energies on something that is of no importance. 99% importance when you do the puja is the intention behind that particular puja. And then our moderators, me too, Nicoleta knows, because we just had the reading yesterday. I explained to her When you do, I don't know, one puja dedicated to Shiva and Parvati on 5 full moon days, which means 5 months, once a month on a full moon day, you need to do a special mantra dedicated to Shiva and Parvati. Don't waste your time in trying to correctly pronounce the mantra. That's a waste of your time. Focus on the intention behind it, because Shiva and Parvati are the ultimate couple in Hinduism, and they represent family unity. So when you do this mantra, focus in here and the heart, family unity. And family unity means your parents. So you have a good relation with the parents, that they're healthy, happy, means your siblings, your partner, and your children. So your immediate family is involved. And then Shiva being the ultimate God in Hinduism, again, while you're doing that mantra, intention in here in your heart is spiritual guidance. So for your own spiritual growth, that's what you focus on. So don't waste your time on how to pronounce the mantra correctly. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
I would have another question which gets back to what Nicoleta said about free will. So basically, I got a reading, but another kind of reading Nicoleta knows what we talk about, right? Where I saw that my next baby is a boy, and so many people saw that. But currently, I'm pregnant, and I found out it's a girl. So I'm asking, can your free will change, like, even that? Because I didn't want a boy. I wanted a girl, but I saw a boy so much, so clearly. And that is my question. So can your free will change even that, you know?
Can your free will change
Because I really
what?
wanted a girl, actually.
The sex of the child, so that you have an influence, or can free will change also maybe impacts others, people's life? And
so it's I don't think that has to do with free will. It has more to do with your intention and thoughts, where you direct it. Can that have an impact on you, on the baby? Yeah, because actually I believe that the baby or the soul of the unborn picks the parents.
Yeah,
I'm a total believer of that. Really, I am, because we come into this not reincarnation, into this carnation, like into this life, with a purpose, you know, to experience certain things. And obviously you got to choose the parents to be able to be exposed to a certain environment, to be able to experience what it is that you want to experience. So yes, can you? Why not? I mean, possible. Of course, the scientists would say that's nonsense, so that's absolutely not possible. But do I believe in the power of the mind and meditation and directing of your intention? Absolutely, I do. Of course, there are crazy things in that. So yeah. So that means that you want to have a boy now instead of a girl, or what? Or it's
no, the contrary. I have a boy that I was seeing all the time, and other people have read that it's a boy, but maybe it's the next one. Who knows?
Oh yeah, you can work on another one then. Of course, that's a good excuse. That's a good excuse, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Thank you so much. Yes.
Of course. With pleasure.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
We receive what we really need to receive, you know, and yeah.
Yes.
We can change everything.
Absolutely true.
So amazing. These readings.
Yes, I know you know, because you just did your reading yesterday, so it's very fresh.
Yes, I was
very blown away.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
I remember tears in your eyes, and
Yes.
I understand. Me too. I was blown away. I'm telling you, I can totally relate to your emotions, because I was there myself. And I've, in the meantime, moderated God knows how many readings, a lot over the past 8 years, and yet I'm always taken by two. It's such an amazing thing that boom. When the leaf is found, then all of a sudden everything unfolds automatically, and the reader just starts rattling off the names, and it's just amazing. It's a beautiful experience, really it is. So yeah.
Yes, and I would recommend that definitely to everyone. And also also now I had the intention for the second reading to have a clarity on two aspects for me were important. It was the spiritual path and also relationship. And I got clarity on both of them. So it was exactly how you said. It was my intention for this reading before. Yes. That intention also not only for the puja, probably also for the reading, what you search for actually in the reading. Yes. And I wanted to see what changed from last time. If the puja had the impact or changed something in my energy field, and they did change.
Yes, they should, of course.
Yes. Because I really did how you said, I was writing down the date and and really I was focused on them, like on doing that.
Yes, as we talked about it yesterday, the German way, like organized, very precise and organized. Yes, not Italian way, the German way.
Yeah, it was. But it was so much fun. Like I really felt them, and how I showed you yesterday, the Shiva and Parvati, they stayed on my altar here because I couldn't live without them anymore. Like something was missing from this energy. I don't know. So.
Good. Perfect. I understand. Believe me, I'm with you. I got.
I see you have Ganesha, or
yes, I have little Ganesha in the back there too, and I'm gonna have Buddha here, even though Buddha is different, but still, you got these little statues to remind you of your energies and where to go, what to do. Yes.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
So Oana is already doing searching for the palm leaf. I know.
Yes.
She knew so much about this last year.
Already, yeah.
From me.
As I said, you hear it many times. You hear it, and it doesn't sink in because you're not ready. It's not important to you at the time. It might be interesting. It's like, oh, fascinating, but then you forget about it. So it was not the time. And then, boom, you hear it again, like you did, Nicoleta, and then it sinks in, and you just act upon it. And when you act upon it, that's when things are created and work, and then you're on the journey, and you find your palm leaf, and you get a reading. That's it.
Super.
Yes.
It's so exciting. This is like, wow, what I'm gonna find there. And you hope, like, I hope I really am living that life, But maybe you discover things you never knew about yourself, and then you want to go that road. Yeah, totally exciting. Oh, yes.
Any questions that I can answer, should answer, of anyone out there?
We had a lot of viewers, but people were very present. They don't have questions. I think you answered so well and explained so well.
Thank you. Well, I've done this once or twice before. So
yeah. So you already know everything. So thank you so much for your time, and it was really a pleasure to hear about your amazing journey, and thank you for sharing it, because this is also a part of our challenge to hear and to inspire people that they matter.
They do matter, absolutely.
And exactly. And it was in the vision of this challenge that everyone is like welcome and to share, and they are amazing. Everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for being here on the third day of your 21-day long challenge.
Perfect. And for me, it's a Wednesday and a third, so it's a lucky day.
That's a lucky day.
that you also know when is your lucky day and when should you do something also from the
reading.
Lucky day.
Your lucky
I know you have to do a reading, Oana.
Yourself.
No, I don't know when it's my lucky day. So now I'm what? Okay, I need to know.
Well, lucky days of the week, energetically speaking, which days of the week are energetically better for certain things, like going on a date or signing a contract or moving or traveling, and they repeat themselves every week. So every Wednesday for Nico is better. Is good. Is better than the other days. And also the lucky days of the month, they repeat themselves too. They will tell you the days, the dates, and those you can use to play the lottery, maybe, who knows, or go on a vacation, or have like one of these seminars, workshops. Because the energies are better for that person.
This is amazing.
And it's every month, and every week they repeat themselves. So You have a chance every month. You have a chance every week.
This
Amazing.
work is out of this dimension. It's
Yes.
It's quite crazy. I know it's quite something. Otherwise, I wouldn't be involved in telling you because when I had my reading done, I had no intentions whatsoever. I'm telling you whatsoever to ever be involved in this. Yeah, it was the farthest from my mind. It's like when he said, "Oh, you're gonna bring this to the West," I said, "Yeah, whatever. You know, look at me. I'm a white guy. I have nothing to do with it." And yet here I am, man. It's mind blowing because you cannot think this up. You cannot, this is not a career like a lawyer or I don't know, a physician or it's not. You just stumble upon it. And then even if you stumble upon it and somebody says, "Oh, you bring this to the West," again, I said no because I didn't think of it. I had no interest in it. I was just fascinated by it. I was just just wanted to have my karma cleaned and overcome it and not be in hospital anymore because I've been in hospital more than most. And yet here I am. And all I did was talk about this the way I talked to you, like full of enthusiasm to my friends and family, because oh my God, this was an amazing thing. And then they said, "Oh, really? I want to get a reading too." And that's how everything started. And 8 years later, we have an institute that helps Indians, helps seekers. And yeah, thank you for allowing me to share my 2 cents also to your audience. Very kind of you.
Thank you. It's been an
Namaste.
Yes. In Tamil, I know some words in Tamil, which I've learned over the years. So Nandri means thank you in Tamil, Nandri, and Namaste, of course.
Also, thank you to the readers always.
Always thank you to my readers. Yes, of course. Without them, I wouldn't be here. Yes, and the interpreters. Thank you.
Yeah, also from our side. I mean,
Yeah. Thank you.
From the public, and much love from us.
And happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali, everybody.
Happy Diwali, yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow with the
Yes.
fourth day.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.